で、これを僕が作ったんですよ、このドキュメント。で、これを読んで、このアイディア分かれば、カタカナの単語を読めるようになると思います。
はい。
本当はそうなるかどうかちょっとわからないけど、このチップを従えば、多分カタカナの単語の謎解けるかもしれないよっていう理論
はい。
があります。OK。So, one. 読んでください、みおさん、これ。
treat treat these words as Japanese words.
まあ、these words っていうのは、まあ、カタカナの単語だね。で、これ、
Okay.
treat these words as Japanese words ってどういう意味かわかる？ So think of them like a Japanese person thinks of them. 日本人として考えてください。カタカナっていうのは、まあ、外来語、ほとんどは。
Okay.
でも、外来語で考えちゃうと、まあ、僕の母国語が英語だから、この単語は英語の単語と思ってしまって、で、英語の発音とか英語の意味が移っちゃうんだよね、たまに。でも、このカタカナの単語は、まあ、完全に日本語の単語になったということなんで、まあ、たまにまた英語の意味とか発音に近いカタカナの単語もあるし、で、それともめっちゃなんか極端っていうか、こういうめっちゃ英語にはあまり関係ないとか、ドイツ語とかに関係ないカタカナの単語もあるから、だからその日本人の考え方が大切。OK、number two。読んでください。
Convince yourself that those words originally come from English. 99% of the time come
But
from
maybe
English.
this isn't a problem. This isn't a problem for you, but when you're 日本語が母国語じゃない人、カタカナの単語を見たら、何回言っても全然意味とか、これ何の単語かわからない。いや、これは絶対英語、もともと英語じゃないという単語を思っちゃう。でも、統計中か、見たら、やっぱりほとんどがもともと英語の単語。だから、それが大切。俺の考えには。だから、これは本当に英語の単語だ。本当に英語の単語。で、99% of the time っていうのは、まあ、たまにアルバイトとかパンとかそういう単語があるんだけど、本当は
I
英語
know.
じゃ
Yeah.
ないけど、でも一番大
ほとんどは
切なのは、
英語だっていうふうに思いなさいってことね。
Yep, so convince yourself. Because it's very
Okay.
hard, because most people are not going to believe it. Especially the more times you read it, you're going to be like, okay. 3番。
Pronounce the katakana exactly as it is written.
違う発音って言ってしまうと、やっぱその単語わからなくなるから、
例えば、
they'll try and guess. They'll just kind of look at it and go, music, music とか。Right? They'll try
okay.
and guess halfway through the word. But you gotta go musical.
クリス
ツリ
マスツリー。
だからみんなは、まあクリスマスぐらいは読めるけど、このツリーって何か、これ
ツリー、
結構ね、
そうね。ツリー、そうね。
これ
なるほど。
みんな読めるよ。読めないよ、これ。
読めないよね。
エイズウイルス。
これね、ウイルス。そう、それね。
よくコロナウイルスで、
コロ
言い
ナウイルス、
にくい。
コロナウイルス。Reread the word to yourself out loud or under your breath if in an exam situation.
で、under your breath ってわかる？
Under your breath. わかんない。
これはなんか、なんていうの、ささやくこんな風に。
OK。
だから、試験だったら話してあかんじゃん。
そういうことね。だから、こそこそ喋りなさいってこと
だから、
こそ。under your breath って言うんだ。
こそ
under your
yeah,
breath.
under your
こそ
breath. Because it's like, I don't even know how to explain it, but you've got your breath, and then you
Okay.
speak you speak under
Under.
it, so it's even
Under.
softer. Yeah, it's even
Yeah, yeah,
softer than
yeah,
your
yeah,
breath. Anyway,
yeah.
reread the word to yourself out loud. Yeah? So you get the word like this one, and you go sutori, sutori, because
Don't worry.
when you read the word to yourself, when you hear it in your head, it's not the same as when you say it out loud. It's especially if you're a beginner at Japanese, it's very difficult to read the word in your head properly. Very, very hard, I would say. So I always tell my students, read the word out loud because
Story.
story. And
Story.
but of course, in an exam, you can't do this, so you have to do it to yourself. Now, I do say, look, just be careful with this because I don't want my students to, get 0 on an exam because they spoke. So I say, look, be careful with this. But if you really can't understand the word, just put your hands over your mouth like this and story.
Story.
Yeah, exactly.
Story.
Yeah.
What
If,
is that
if,
actually? What about, I always explain that make it flat. Always when you say a word in Japanese, make it flat.
you mean like
Like,
intonation?
mm,
Yes,
imagine
very.
this instead of story, make it flat. Story.
That's good.
That's
That's kind of what I was trying to say here, number 3.
okay.
Yeah,
Katakana
pronounce
exactly.
it exactly as it's written. Because yeah, you're right. That is definitely one of the main problems that I
Mm,
notice people have.
yeah.
That again, it's this thing where they're not treating it like a Japanese word. They're trying to
Mm,
find the English word too quickly.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
True.
you're right. Yeah, doing it in like it's called monotone. Reading it in a
More.
monotone, but that's how I describe it to my students. So you know what metronome ってわかる?
メトロノーム。
Yeah, so
metronome.
I tell my students, imagine a metronome, and each character gets
うん。
one beat. Sutori.
うんうんうんうん。
Sutori. Yeah, so it's got to be bump,
そ
bump, bump, like that. Read it like that. Because that's how Japanese people are going to do it. There's
う。
with English words, the boy and she and, make words sounds longer or shorter.
うん。
Whereas in Japanese, that doesn't happen. You've got this, yokobo じゃないけど、これなんだっけな。
なんて言うんだろうね。横
I,
棒。
I looked
伸
it
ばし
up the
棒。
I
伸ば
actually
し
looked it
棒。
up the other day and I've already forgotten
伸
what it
ば
is,
し
but
棒って呼ぶ。伸ばし棒。
that's it, nobashibo, that's it.
5番、put furigana above a word in English or hiragana.
Above there, above,
Above, above,
above.
above.
That's maybe Australian accent, but anyway, put
Oh,
furigana above a word in English or hiragana. Yep, so これが furigana だね. So this is very important. Now, I've done it here with hiragana, but
Mhm.
I would say it's a little bit hard for a beginner to do something
Oh,
like this. ください.
try to cut out extra word. なんていうの Words.
Oh, this is kind of a silent W. It's vowels.
Vowels. Prime candidate involve vowels at the end of words.
Very good. あいうえお、かきくけこ。なんていうの ?50 音. That's
50
it.
音
When you think about that, there are too many vowels there for English, all right? Because it's ka, ki, ku, ke, ko. You can't just have a K. You're going to get something extra over
Yeah.
here, A or whatever.
Okay.
So there's too many of them for English. So we need to get rid of some of them. And so the best ones, because we don't know, because it's difficult to know which one are you going to get rid of, right? But some of the best ones are ones at the end of words. This one, for example, we got musical. Okay, so if we did our thing, we know that this is ending with a ru. Musical, right? And so this is a good one to get rid of.
Then it's going to be musical.
It's going to sound more like the English word, yeah. The other thing is, particularly any U's or any all sounds. These are the ones you really want to get rid of mostly. So, for example, musical, you want to get rid of the U here. And that's what I've done, actually. You can see I've deleted it. Yeah, hair piece. You're really just wanting to end with S on there.
A piece.
Here, hiking gu. Really, you just want to end it with a G. So yeah, the GU or especially su, like this su,
But
you often want to get rid of that.
I think if you really want to pronounce like a Japanese people, native Japanese people, you must have
Yes,
the
yeah,
word.
that's completely true. Yes, you
Yeah.
need to say it. This is more if you can't understand the word.
Yeah.
Okay, hey, none about.
7番 be aware of R and L. Yeah, that's right. これね、
Yeah,
interchange ability.
まあこれだね。Light, right, right. Okay? Because so if you look up right in the
全部がライ
yeah,
ト。
if you
全部
look it up
ラ
in
イ
the
ト。
dictionary, you'll get all three of these.
Yeah, ライト。
So again, when we write the furigana, originally we want to write the furigana as it is, right? So raito. Okay, and then maybe if that's not working, we can get rid of this o because that's not probably going to help.
Right.
And then we
Right.
want to rewrite it out
ライト。
with an L in the place. Okay, so this
Right.
is the interchangeability, right? It's you want to write it again. This is what I say to my students in exams. Even write it above the word. You can write on the exam paper. Just write it above, and then anytime you have a ra li lu le ro, go to a la li lu le lo as well, right? And then maybe you can. That's a very common one that make and this, this can make it very hard to work it out. Hey, 8番。
8番 Katakana words can be 2 or 3 words in English. Sometimes they will be separated by a dot, but not always.
9番。
Except the word to very likely be a noun or less likely an adjective.
Yep. So very likely, very unlikely, you're going to get verbs. It could happen, and there are some like you say, and you've got this weird one where you've got stuff like this. これ聞いたことある？
バグる。
携帯がバグるとか。Yep. So really, you're taking a noun here, bug, which is an English word, and then you're just kind of making it into a verb. So you have stuff like this. But even this, I wouldn't. It's kind of a verb, but not really. So yeah. Normally you're going to be dealing with nouns, all right, which makes it a bit easier, and sometimes adjectives like hansamuna toka. But that's kind of the rule, I guess, that when you deal with an adjective, you're still going to get the Japanese grammatical rules. So hansamuna hito. All right, you're still going to get the hint over here that this was an adjective. Rotation. So this is probably something I'll add to the list later, but the thing that I think helps me with katakana is you start recognizing little patterns, and shon, really it's trying to recreate this sound.
Yeah, that's true. Shon.
Yep, and the same thing with haikingu. All right, when we see kingu, it's kind of trying to do ing. Or I really should say this bit, the ing on the end of words. So you start noticing patterns like that. So it's easy. Well, when you have a long word, you can kind of go, hiking, cancel, yeah, Christmas tree, これ話したよね, right? Almond. I mean, this is just kind of an interesting one because it's kind of, you've got a silent L really in the word. So there's not going to be any L here. Well, this is 2 words really. You got stuff like this where we got chichai o information. So we have really more sounds in katakana than we do in hiragana.
Information.
And the same thing here. My home. Okay, so here is where we start going more into the Japanese. This is a real Japanese creation, right? So my home.
My home.
Okay, you don't really say this in English, my home. And the other thing is this one.
My pace. Yeah, right.
So these kind of phrases are really, they were English, they've gone into katakana, and then they've changed again. They've become a unique kind of Japanese word that you don't say in English, especially my pace. And don't mind.
We use it quite a lot. My pace. This person is really my pace. Don't mind. Don't mind って意味わからんかったけどよく使ってた。Don't mind, don't mind. 運動会とかスポーツ
俺野球のイメージがする。don't mind って言ったら。なんか甲子園見てた時、みんな選手たちがいつも don't mind, don't mind って。
Don't mind って don't mind.
Like they're going like this, right? Two out. Two out, don't mind, two out. Two out ってなんだっけこれ？
わかんない。
I forget. I think they do like this. this is two alto in yaku.
Don't mind.
Because you got two outs, one more out, you're gonna win. So it's like even if they hit it, you're like two out. I think it's like that. It's been a long time since I've watched Kojian. Regular. Well, here again we've got a ra.
Regular.
Okay, we've got a ra, and our rule says we should always think about the interchangeability between R and L, because regular.
Regular also you need to change to L at the beginning. Regular,
No.
not regular. Regular.
The regular. See, this is your Japanese background. It's an R. Regular has an R at the front, but an L in the middle.
Regular.
So this is why it's tricky, because you have to think of both at the same time. You have to think that, well, this could be an R and this could be an L. Then you have to think this could be an L, that could be an R, and you have to try all the combinations. So it can take a bit of time.
Yeah.
This is a good exercise. I do this with my students a lot. Just open up Google Maps and we'll just look at places, because we got some interesting ones like Igirisu.
Igirisu.
Okay, that's kind of strange. We got
Deutsch.
Deutsch, Portugal. That's kind of a hard one. And then, of course, where is it? We have Austria. All right. And this is one that I used to get. People used to think I was from Europe, right? Because I would say because we say Australia. So I'd say Australia kara kimashita. And they're, Europa?
Austria.
Okay. And then so the key is you have to really emphasize every single sound. Australia. Australia. You have to say every single sound separately.
That's right.
And that's the same with every katakana word. You have to go ba 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 ba. Just say every single thing. So Australia.
Sydney.
Yeah, Sydney. That's not that bad, I think.
Sydney.
And this is it's kind of famous. Well, I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but you have the シドニーのオリンピックがあったじゃん、2000年。で、多分1998年 IOC がシドニーが次のオリンピックを行うよっていう、発表があったじゃん。で、その発表する人が IOC の会長が多分日本人だったから、その会長が発表したんじゃん。で、その時、英語で言ったんだけど、The winner is Sydney, like that, and then that was like that was big news for Australia, right? Super huge news. So that was broadcast, TV all the time, and so for like weeks and weeks and weeks, if you just turn on the TV every now and then, you'd see them announcing it, like do like a chuke chuka. They'd show it again, and just the Japanese guy going, "The winner is Sydney," like that, and it was just it was so funny. But it's that one's not so bad. Shidoni, it's kind of similar, but Melbourne, Tasmania. But anyway, this is a good exercise. I encourage all my students to do this. Just open up Google Maps and just explore. Just look at all these. I mean, it gets a bit hard when you get into Asia because China is all in kanji, Taiwan obviously in kanji, Korean is in Hangul. So it gets a bit harder, but. And Japan is obviously all in kanji mainly, but going around anywhere else pretty much, South America, Africa, the US, of course, Canada, it's good practice to do.